Start the chat. California love. Oh wait, we just started the chat.
Instantly demonetized.
Hey, I gotta be in that cesspool tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Where do you
Yeah.
work? You work in LA, or where do you work at?
Well, no more now. I got fired.
What?
Really?
Yep. So I got to do a big suing case out there. They turned me down since Friday.
What the fuck happened?
Some stupid government shit. They pretty much say I got fired for.
Is it something you could talk about on air? Or
I mean, I ain't got no problem. I mean, they don't know what any of this shit is, but it's like pretty much fired like late.
you were late.
You were late,
Yeah.
so you got fired?
Yeah.
You kept showing up late?
No.
Or you showed up late one time and they fired you?
Well, if that's a part of that as far as their record for that, but I'm pretty sure it was just to get the county employee off my back. Well, it's like a county monitor, but that person had a problem with me because I parked my car at a certain area. So I think it was just better like, okay, we're going to do this. So that way, because remember, we're contract helping out these people, these government people. So it's like that. It's like, okay, we'll be on their good side. We'll fire you.
So you pissed off the people that you were, or at least someone anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Hopefully you can find something else soon.
Well, that was never the problem. It's just they got this weird citation thing where they can like fuck me over for any government job or work in law enforcement, all that type of shit. So they're trying to stick me with something like that. Yes. But the problem is I'm not a government worker. I'm contract. So what they might do is illegal. So that's a whole suing case with that. I think it's like a scare tactic. Sometimes they do that with certain people. But yeah.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
So effectively for showing up late one time or a couple times, they can fire you and then be like, fuck you forever. Jesus, dude.
And parking in the wrong spot.
Yeah. Well, anyway, how's it going, everybody? Ohio, Leo, Mr. Cornbread, lawfully armed. You guys seen what's going on in LA?
All day long.
I have.
Entertaining.
Weird thing is they said it was in my jurisdiction where city I live in, but I didn't see any of that. I think it's like way out in the outskirts of it.
Well, whenever there's riots like this, it's always in like a specific location or whatever, and people who live in the area will be like, well, I live in that area and I didn't see anything. Yeah, it's because you're fucking 5 blocks off, bro. You know? It's not that far.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the problem is for where I'm at, where they have a little bit of that, it's like blocked off. It's like they don't want nobody crossing over to the other cities. So the PD is doing that.
well, that kind of makes sense because it would be like one of those Wacatia situations where, or what was the town that Rittenhouse was in? Because like whenever that was going on, there were
Kenosha.
Kenosha. There was people from all over going to Kenosha because of it was like I forgot what even fucking caused that whole thing. Do you guys remember?
It was Jacob Blake trying to stab a woman.
Right.
After he raped her.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He kidnapped her kids and stole her car.
I knew that part.
Well, when the cops got him, wasn't he actually there because he was trying to intimidate her from witness testimony or something?
No.
Okay,
She
I
had
thought that's
called
what
the
it was.
police because he raped her, and then they shot him because he was in the process of kidnapping her kids because he was stealing her car with her kids in the backseat.
Okay.
And then the leftists got outraged because, irregardless of the situation, a black man got shot by the police, right? And so they have to burn the city down and go in and riot, and then everyone on the left calls it like, oh well, it was mostly peaceful. And yes, Dino Spumoni, we do have what seems to be a Summer of Love 2.0 situation, but I think the difference is, I feel like the Summer of Love was one of those color revolution type things funded from like deep state weird thing, you know, like bricks would show up on the fucking corner of the street, and you know there was a certain level of organization that seemed to be going on behind the scenes. that was already paid for, like the fucking rider trucks with food and water for people in the middle, so they could continue to fucking riot and do things. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going on. Versus right now, there might be some of that going on, honestly. And I did see something about N95 masks being like handed out, which would be something along those lines.
Or center blocks and stuff blocking the
Yeah,
road.
they found cinder block pallets in some place.
But think about this. The Biden administration let between 10 and 20 million people. There's 10 million is the low estimate, 20 million is the higher estimate of people into this country in 4 years, in a 4-year period, most of which don't give a fuck about America. They were just here for a free handout. They were here for the ride. They're here for the fun. And they're like ready to crash the party, like they're ready for this whole thing to go down because they were not invested in it in the first place. And, like if you have nothing, flipping the board it might be a good thing. Because if you flip the board when you have nothing, you might end up with something when the pieces fucking settle on the other side. If you flip the board when you're winning, that's not what you want, So yeah, I think it doesn't need to be as organized because there's so many people who are here from different countries who have a vested interest in the downfall of this country, who don't really care about this country, who are just here for the free handout again. And they're here, they don't have jobs, they don't have like Summer of Love was created because everyone was on lockdown from COVID and didn't have jobs. This is because there's a bunch of illegal immigrants in the country who aren't allowed to work or whatever, who don't have jobs, who've been getting handouts from the government, who those government handouts are ending, and who are now being threatened to be deported back to their countries. And they're like, fuck, what do we do? Oh, there's a riot. We're all going there. And that's why they're shutting down from other cities like you're talking about, coming to LA. Yeah, because they don't want a bunch of people from like Sacramento and, Orange, wherever else, like coming into the city to wherever it is that the things are going on and fucking adding to the problems because there's so many fucking people here. And it's not just California, and it's not just Colorado, and it's not just Texas, boys. It's the entire fucking country because the federal government facilitated putting them on buses and spreading them out across the country like peanut butter so that we wouldn't notice as much, right? Because if you send them to the middle of rural fucking Iowa on a bus, a couple at a time, and everywhere else in the fucking country, then it seems like the problem's not so bad. We got a couple Mexicans here. They got a couple Mexicans there. We got some fucking, I don't even know. Like, you go to fucking Walmart now. You go to fucking the goddamn store. There's 17 goddamn fucking languages being spoken in the fucking aisle as I'm picking out what kind of rice I want. It's the most annoying fucking shit. I'm sorry to be xenophobic or whatever, but fuck the fuck off. If you can't fucking speak English, fuck the fuck off in America. Period. Sorry. Not fucking sorry. Fuck off. All right, how's it going, everybody?
To add what you're talking about, Rhonda, I mean, I just saw videos earlier when they were just like, arresting some people. Like, I think it was like a bunch of like Asian people that were working at a salon, whatever, somewhere like, I think I don't know if it's Kentucky or some area, but, obviously these people were spread all over everywhere.
Sorry, I'm grabbing a drink. Keep talking.
I knew we were cooked when they started putting the signs up at Walmart in Spanish, too.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of last year when I was going to the discount place. It was myself and my cousin were the only ones speaking English. Everybody else was either speaking Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, or something else. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like, this kind of problem right here. Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg going on in California.
Well, and here's kind of a theory that I had about it when I'm looking at all of these stories about insurrection and shit, which I would actually call this an insurrection because this is people who are not citizens of this country, who are fighting back against a lawful order by the federal government and destroying property and hurting lives within this country, right? I don't know what the definition of insurrection is exactly, but it seems to me something along those lines versus what happened on January 6th, which is what the leftists are comparing this to. I don't know. I wouldn't call that an insurrection. So, I don't know. Do you think this is an insurrection? Like, literally, right now, what's going on?
It looks like it, like the optics of it. I mean, you're setting stuff on fire and you're waving foreign flags in the middle of an American city. If it's not, it sure damn well looks like it.
Well, I mean, I guess an insurrection would be an attempt to overthrow a government, right? To insurrect against a government would be like
more of an invasion.
It's essentially a rebellion, is what an insurrection is.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So this is declaration of war by another country, especially when you have Mexico's president coming out and being like, "Yeah, we need to fucking go against America." It's like, what?
Well,
Right.
not just that.
Not insurrection.
Different countries.
Right. What I mean is not insurrection, but invasion.
Yes.
Devil's advocate. You have to look through the lens of the Constitution with all of this. I don't like people waving other nations' flags, but if they were a U.S. citizen, that is their First Amendment right. But I think at the same time, if you are in the act of committing a crime, like if you've got a flag in one hand and you're like stomping a police car or spray painting it or doing something with the other, then I think we can call you an invasive force, and why not neutralize it?
So one of the things that's going on right now is Trump has called in the National Guard to help put down this, whatever you want to call it, this riot, I guess would be the best term. And everyone's freaking out on the left about it. They're like, "Oh, Trump's calling in the National Guard." Like, okay, cool. What is LAPD doing about it? What is the California government doing actively to stop this shit from happening and quell this insurrection, this riot in an effective way, and put people behind bars and arrest people that need to be arrested and, fix things that need to get fixed? And they're not doing it. And then when Trump, so that was one of the things that I think that Trump didn't do correctly in his first term, because he didn't want the optics of him calling in the National Guard and, having the ammunition, putting the ammunition in their guns to fire against him for saying that he's some sort of a dictator or whatever the fuck it is because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But he should have done it because that gave them the ability to just do whatever the fuck they wanted, right? So now that he's like, fuck that shit. So yeah, that gives them the ammunition to fire against him. But I think it's ineffective at this point because they've already lied and cheated and twisted the truth and done all the Weasley word things that they possibly can do for the past 12 years now, it seems like. I don't know. Going back when Obama was even president, they were doing this kind of shit. Even before then, going back. So anyway, the people are onto this, and they can see through the lies for the most part, which is why the media has the lowest approval ratings of all time, why the Democrats currently have the lowest approval ratings of all time that I've ever seen. And Trump, I think his numbers just came out, and he's actually looking pretty fucking good. Like, his approval ratings are actually like that of a successful president, right? So they can't deal with the truth. So all they can do is gaslight and lie and twist the truth, and people are seeing through it. And so Trump giving them this ammunition at this point to fire against him will work on the people that it already worked on. It will work on the people who were already like, Trump is Nazi, Hitler, blah, 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 right? They already believe that. So it's just going to like harden their belief, I guess. But it's not going to change anyone's opinion. It's not going to change anyone's mind. It's not going to resolve any issues. And they're going to continue to do it, I think, because that's their only play. But yeah, I think it's the right move for Trump to call the National Guard right now. And if any other city and any other fucking state does the same thing, he should probably call the National Guard in for them too, as soon as it seems like the state or the city is not handling it,
Now, here's the thing with that too. Also, like, does the LAPD have enough manpower? Like, how many of them quit after the George Floyd riots?
Yeah, I mean, they still trying to hire people.
Well, the thing is, it's not like they care anyway because they're on board with calling it mostly peaceful protests at this point.
Yeah, well, the higher ups are. I know a lot of the officers don't like this shit.
That's why you've also had Pete Hegseth in the last day or so say he's ready to call on Marines from Camp Pendleton.
So, and this is the kind of shit that happens, right? Like, here's a store owner, or maybe he's just an employee, I don't know. But he's trying to defend his store from rioters who are going to come in. They fucking rip the doors open, punch him in the stomach, beat him up, threaten him, fucking end up getting into the store, rioting through the store, destroying things, stealing things, and like CNN will be like, whoa, and then not even fucking talk about it. You ask a leftist about it, they'll be like, well, these people are actually generationally oppressed, so therefore they have a right to put on masks and beat the fuck out of people who are trying to defend their business while laughing and destroying everything that they own. Right? It's indefensible, yet they're somehow gaslighting everybody and ignoring things. You know what I mean? It's the typical media shit. And we're all so used to it. I think the people that have woken up to this recently are going to be the ones that are most fucking pissed off and shocked by this, because we've already seen it so many times before that it's almost lost that edge for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just expect it, and I know what's going to, I know what they're going to say, so when they say it, I'm not upset about it. But
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me in, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Why are we still calling it, mostly peaceful riots when in some cases you can see half the city or a portion of the city, not really half, maybe just like one block of the city burning in the background on the TV? Why is that mostly peaceful? Because in every other part of the world, they would call that out of hand.
Well, again,
not anymore. In Europe, they will still call it mostly peaceful.
So you got to look at how color revolutions work, right? And what is a color revolution? That is a U.S. government-funded overthrow of a smaller government, either in South America or Eastern Europe or whatever, where we go in and we sow dissent within the country, right? And we enable a minority group to, riot or cause problems in the country, while at the same time buying the media so that we can control what's reported in their media in their own country, so the people hear what we want them to hear and the arguments that we want them to hear. And then ultimately we put our guy in control, right? So it ends up with a puppet in power. It's the cheapest way to do it. It's cheaper than invading.
And then 10 years rolls down the line and the guy we put in power turns against us.
Well, yeah, and then you get problems like what's going on in the Ukraine right now, right? Where Russia finally decided that, hey, we're tired of your fucking software war bullshit, USA stuff. We see what you're doing, and we're going to put a stop to it here. We're retaking Crimea. We're going to do what we're going to do, and you can fuck off. And we're going to use hard war to get what we want, because your soft war just continually because people they figured out how to social engineer, right? They figured out how to fucking get into a society and bend it to their will in certain ways that get people into power, that they then control the narrative. And you know what I mean? They know how to do it. There's a color revolution. They're doing it in the United States. That's how they got Biden into power, I believe.
Okay. I have to comment on something. Guy that comments stuff being on fire, being normal in California was pretty much part of the course in the early 90s. Nowadays, I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Well, stuff being on fire maybe is normal. People setting things on fire and not getting arrested for it,
that's more likely.
That's not as normal. And that's been going on.
It's not. I mean, ever since COVID, I've been seeing more of that, homeless people burning this or some stuff burning that. Even in the morning, even through the night, especially when I used to work there and I got off at night, there was always something on fucking fire.
Right. And I do want to mention on the whole, flying another flag here on American soil. It's just yeah, fine. If you're an American citizen and you want to fly any flag you want, go for it. Yeah. Even if it's one of those, not socially acceptable flags, go for it. Okay. But the point is, you have that right because you're an American. But if you're an illegal alien, or if you're not here legally and you're flying a foreign flag on American soil, get the fuck out.
That's an invasion to me.
And a lot of those are Mexican nationalists that are flying the Mexican flag.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You can burn an American flag. You could burn a Mexican flag. You could burn a Canadian flag. You can burn a fucking a rebel flag, right? You know what flag you can't burn in the United States?
The colorful one.
The gay flag. That's correct.
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree. You can burn that one all you want.
Well, the funny thing is, like, you know, you presidents get a day, veterans get a day. If you die for the country, you get a weekend. You know, but if you suck a dick, you get a whole fucking month.
Well, you get a month until you know it's Juneteenth.
So have you seen a video about this guy throwing rocks at cars as they're going by, which in my opinion is attempted murder. Every time you throw a rock at a moving car, I don't know if like technically you could charge them with that, but if you hit them just right and they react wrong when they're driving, even if they're moving at 35 miles an hour or whatever, they could still fucking end up dead, technically.
I mean, this has to be somewhere like on the left coast, because if you did that in any of the Midwestern states or even the southern states, the person driving may stop and fire on you.
Well, the reason that they're not, though, is because there's a riot going on night straight.
This is
Well,
true.
no,
And I think those are government vehicles.
okay. It's not just that. It's not just that, but also the state kind of trips on certain shit like that, so they could never fire on people. I deal with a lot of law enforcement guys.
You couldn't get away with
state.
that in a fuck you in the ass state.
Yeah, but I feel like, you know, the charges against this person should be to the maximum of whatever they can do. I don't know. I mean, they're offering a $50,000 reward of information leading to his arrest. So one of his friends who needs some money is about to get rich.
And he's probably going to get deported.
But yeah, and who knows if he's even legal or not? Because there's so many leftists who are homegrown fucking retards in this country that, like, yeah, there's a lot of fucking illegal immigrants who are in this country who are rioting and doing things in Los Angeles right now, I'm sure. But how many of them are homegrown retards?
Remember,
The 5th of
California
November?
declared itself as a sanctuary state.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, you know, they've been garnering and getting all these people for years.
Yep.
So here they are making Molotov cocktails out of Mexican flags and Modelo bottles.
Okay, I hate to say it, but if you're making Molotov cocktails, expect to get shot,
I agree.
because that kind of thing, no. You want it to be peaceful, great, but the minute you start throwing Molotov cocktails, you know what? I have no sympathy for you if you get shot.
Oh, Honda, what do you think about that thing that went on in Colorado?
Yeah, the assault weapons ban.
No, the guy with the
Molotovs.
no, the guy with the Molotov.
The Egyptian.
Yeah, it turns out he was an illegal immigrant let in by the Biden administration from Egypt who,
Oh, surprise!
is a Muslim extremist who hates Jewish people who happen to just be in Boulder for whatever reason.
Was he
I mean,
part
like-
of the Muslim Brotherhood?
I have no idea. But I know he
That's
was
one of the
yelling
groups in
Allahu
Egypt.
Akbar and all that shit. So what is...
They always do that, though.
All right.
Not to be that guy, but the ATF would say every one of those completed Molotov cocktails is a felony, whether
true.
you used it or not.
It's true.
All right, on a lighter note. Can't fucking play the music because we'll get copyrighted.
But
That
it's
actually
still playing
happened.
in my head.
That actually happened. Trump went down there and just knocked the dude off the bike.
AI is getting awesome, dude.
AI is getting better.
Wait, this is AI? What?
This is AI, yeah.
No, it's real. Actually happened.
I wish.
Kowloon Republic has a super chat.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, I'm looking at this. Read my last chat. I can't super chat right now, but I'm a member still. Calhoun says, and you should be treated as a foreign invader unless you're a U.S. citizen. Then you should be charged with treason or sedition.
Yes.
So if you're, I mean,
Guantanamo.
I don't know, man. Like, charged with maybe, but you don't want to overcharge people. You want to charge people with what you can get them with. And if it's a bunch of U.S. citizens who are being stupid and doing stuff and destroying property, maybe you just hit them where it hurts, which is financially. You hit them where it fucking hurts, which is now you're a felon and you can't get a job. You hit them where it hurts, where it's like, oh, now you're doing 6 months or 2 years in prison and your wife left you and now you don't have, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take a lot. People are pretty fucking soft these days, you know what I mean?
Well, they could easily charge them with terrorist rioting,
Yeah.
and that would be enough, I think.
Wait, so unless they're a citizen, but if you're a foreigner,
Oh, if you're a foreigner, it's like, just get the fuck out. Okay, like, you have put yourself at the front of the deportation line. Congratulations, you know? Like, we were going to get to you eventually, but since we arrested you during this riot, and it turns out you are from Ecuador and you're not supposed to be here, well, when's the next plane for Ecuador leaving with illegal Ecuadorians on it? Yeah, you'll be on that plane. Like, anyway, they're handing out M95 masks. Does that even help you, an M95 mask against tear gas? I don't think it would.
No, but
No, it won't.
I guess they're trying to keep people from getting COVID.
It's anonymity.
That's part of it, yeah.
Oh, I thought they all had COVID or something.
And here's what the messaging from Democrat Wins Media, which is a leftist group. Breaking: an enormous peaceful protest has broken out in Los Angeles in defiance of Donald Trump's ICE raids. This is how it's done. And they show like one spot where, you know, there's a bunch of people and nothing's happened yet, you know. But I'm sure if you just waited long enough and showed that same exact spot. Didn't they make it illegal to fucking block roadways during a protest?
Yeah. That's near
It's always been illegal.
that's near downtown at City Hall, because I know some people that are in there too as one of those people.
Anyway, that's going on.
Text him. Tell him to go home.
There's more dudes throwing rocks at cops and burning stuff. Because peaceful, right? Because peaceful protest. Because Trump is a dictator. Because CNN says so. I missed a lot of shit while I was gone, apparently. I was gone for a whole week. AI.
wait,
Yeah.
this AI too? What?
Yeah,
No.
it's AI.
I thought this actually happened.
Yeah.
No, we wish.
2 men on motorcycles ram into the police in Los Angeles and were both arrested.
They were arrested, and they probably were deported because they're probably illegal.
Well, that was smart.
But what outcome did that guy expect?
Looks like they're either using beanbag or rubber bullets.
No, I mean the guy on the motorcycle. What did his dumbass think he was going to do?
Right, like
Yeah,
he was gonna make it through like fucking Bruce Lee or something
yeah.
on a motorcycle.
He's not Bruce Lee.
Probably watching too many Fast and Furious movies.
Although, during the Rodney King
Bunting
riots,
dropping a lot of it.
the
Sorry?
one guy that during the Rodney King riots, the one guy that was shot was in his sports car, drove through the Marines line, made it to the other end, realized it was a dead end, turned around, went back. When he drove back through, that's when they stitched him with the mounted machine gun.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, he was going through past those guys.
They
They
kind of
they were
swept
gonna
that
shoot
under
him.
the rug because that's posse comitatus. So they were
mean,
like, yeah, the National Guard did it.
Since that's a riot, I have to ask, where are our rooftop Koreans?
Well, the gun laws prevent that.
Arizona. They all retired to Arizona.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's that too. No, one of the ones
technically-
the families from there. I saw him post. He's like all the way in Vegas.
They may have moved out of LA is probably what happened.
Yeah, no, there's still some there, but I
Are
don't
they
know.
even legally
He was one of them
allowed
was
to own?
fake.
Yeah, that video
I
is super choppy.
I miss our rooftop Koreans is all I'm saying.
Well, okay, I'll give you one. Like one guy, I think it was during the George Floyd one. He came out in full tactical gear, but the fucking National Guard stopped him, and he ended up getting in a trial case. He pretty much got let go. And he's like, "Fuck you," and he left. So I think he moved to Arizona.
That's why I gave
Kenneth
you one or
Lee,
two.
who was
It
one
has
of
to
the
be
most well-known
bunch.
North Koreans.
There's more footage of what's going on right now.
Kenneth Lee
again,
was
this
one
is
of
the
the
same
most
area that they
well-known
were
North
just like,
Koreans.
this is the same area that they were just on CNN.
I've been
being
through
like,
that area. I've been through that area before.
I work near that area. It's literally that close.
This is the same area that CNN was just like, oh, look at this, the peaceful protest. This is how it's done. While they're like pushing against police and yeah.
I hate to say it, but if it's a peaceful protest, the police don't need to be there. And that's not a peaceful protest.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a
true. If
fucking
it's
riot,
actually
yeah.
a peaceful protest, there's no need for police. 'Cause the
Exactly.
people would be peaceful.
And I give you like an example. When I work there all the time, there's always like parades or protests, especially on Sundays. So, but there's never sometimes any people there. Any cops there.
I hope that all those Mexicans out there that are flying the Mexican flag, I hope they went to church on Saturday.
Here's the modified sign by the protesters because they say what they want out loud, and like the dead cops and fuck ICE and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Church on Saturday.
No, they were rioting Saturday too. No, what got me is they've been destroying a lot of these machines and setting them on fire.
Yeah, these are the self-driving cars.
Yep.
So they specifically targeted those because I don't know why. And
What's
that's
the-
like an actually
what's
like
the
a
company
really
that
good
owns
argument
those gonna
against
do?
fucking public ownership of things like this. Like, oh, we should just have self-driving cars that go around the city all the time and service the city. Like, okay, what about when you get a bunch of Mexican nationals who want something to destroy?
Mhm.
Now your whole fucking like monetary plan of how this makes sense just went out the fucking window. Private ownership's the fucking answer. Sorry.
And don't forget, a lot of businessmen leaving from the state.
Because no one gives a fuck about the car being destroyed that's not theirs. But if that's your car, you're going to stop that motherfucker with a hammer with your fucking fist, right?
Exactly.
At least you might.
Or if you're in a decent state, you'll stop them with a gun.
That's one thing that surprised me. There's been not one, particular shooting yet.
That's memes for you, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, if it happened today, they will all get arrested. And
Yeah, things have
charged with,
changed.
Hate
Mhm.
crime or some shit.
Yeah, things have definitely changed since the Rodney King riots. Especially in California law. Like, things have
Yep.
really fucking changed quite a bit since then.
No, Dino Spumoni, you should know this. Catholics have mass on Saturday evenings.
I don't remember going to mass on Saturday evenings.
My girl kind of.
There are some churches that do a Saturday service.
A lot of Catholic parishes do it on Saturday evening, and then maybe do it on Sunday as well.
You went underwater, not strike.
Right, you went underwater.
Were you saying it so that you can get drunk on Saturday night so you don't miss Sunday mass?
I remember when I used to go to Catholic church. We used to go on Wednesdays.
Now, where those incidents happened, those were like near my neighborhoods.
Ooh.
Dude, Catholic Church is fucking weird.
Yeah,
My family is technically Catholic, so when we would go to church, which was basically never, it was Catholic church. And so we would show up, and my parents were raised Catholic. Both of them were. So they know when to stand up and sit down and repeat and not repeat and do all the things and take the bread and drink the wine and the things you're supposed to say and all, and so like they know what to do. But we would go to church, me and my brother especially, because my two sisters are way older and they kind of got it a little bit when they were little. But by the time I was a kid, my dad was in prison, so that shit was out the window. So yeah, like sit down, stand. I'm always like a step behind everyone else, like whatever. I'm just trying to fucking keep up with what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
It's like the fucking like you're square dancing and like the partner's doing the thing, but you're like, oh wait, what are we doing? Oh no, now we're doing this. Oh god. Okay. Anyway,
I grew up that.
Well, my comment was if they're real Mexicans, they would be going to church on Saturday evenings for Saturday mass.
Some do. Well, remember, you got to talk about like the average person there.
If they're real Mexicans, but if they're not real Mexicans, then they're probably from somewhere else.
They can't be agnosticans.
No, there. You
Well,
try
well,
you try telling an old Mexican lady why you're not going to church, and you'll get hit with whatever cooking utensil she has near her.
Far left and Mexican nationalist rioters are breaking into cars in Los Angeles and setting them on fire using American flags as tinder. The insurrection against the government is happening while they carry foreign flags.
pretty much Honda just said. Night Strike, a lot of far left ones, they don't care about going to fucking church
Yeah.
and shit like
Yeah,
that.
look
I
at
know
this
way
guy.
too many Mexicans.
You're gonna
out
smash
there.
the car just by standing on it.
I mean,
Ooh.
that was the
Yeah,
whole
well,
joke I
you
told,
would've won,
I told my girl that
bro.
where a lot of Texas Mexicans are way different than fucking ones from California.
Texicans.
So I was looking into it, and I think the only reason that Trump has not declared an insurrection act at this point for the LA riots currently is because it was something that Richard Blumenthal did back in 2020 or so called the Civil Act that basically stopped presidents from being able to enact an insurrection act the right way.
How? Why? The fuck are you saying?
Let's see.
You can't just say half the thing.
I'm not going to go back and find it. Yes, Richard Blumenthal reduced the Civil Act to restrict presidential authority, outline an insurrection act legislation sought to require the president to consult with Congress before invoking the act, restricting presidential activation of troops under the act to 14 days without explicit congressional authority.
So they got to wait 2 weeks and talk to Congress first, basically.
Well, I think that's why they're doing what they're doing right now and not calling it an insurrection act, even though it clearly is.
The ads write themselves.
And we're barely making it into the summer yet.
Oh yeah.
Imagine there were 10 million Americans that went up to Canada and started riots and burned cars and broke into stores and stole shit and beat up cops and flew American flags and burned Canadian flags.
Mark Carney and Trudeau wouldn't have done anything.
No, I think they would have sent an airstrike. If it was right-wing Americans doing it.
Yeah. I'm saying like a bunch of whites go up there and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends on how far north of you go, because there are some towns in Canada that are all white.
Okay, let's say
if you go to
we go down
Toronto.
to Mexico and do that. How would the Mexican police and the Mexican government and the Mexican army react?
12 cartels.
Would there be outrage
Well,
among the Mexican people?
You say Mexican
no,
army, but I heard Mexican cartel.
God damn it. Forgot what I was going to say now. It's okay.
All thumbs in the comments.
But
Said
still,
he
if you would have did this in Vancouver or like to Toronto,
It'd be the same.
they would have called in the army. No, I think no, it depends on who was doing
Wait.
it.
I guess my point was that if they did call in, like if it was in Mexico and the Mexican National Guard came in and they shot a bunch of people and fucking rounded everyone up and violently threw them in prison and beat them up and threw them back into America or whatever the fuck they ended up doing, there would be zero international outrage because they'd be like, well, they came into that country illegally and they broke the law.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you do it in America and you happen to be a person who's, a little darker or whatever, then racism. And the same thing, by the way, is going on across Europe in almost every single European country. The only one that is not going on currently, as far as I understand, is Poland.
Yep.
Maybe Ukraine to some extent because there's a war going on there, and Russia. So,
well, Poland's a different issue. Poland. The reason why it's not happening in Poland is Poland is arming itself to the teeth like a mini Texas.
Mm-hmm.
well, the reason it's not happening in Poland is because Poland had to recently fight off communism.
Yeah.
And Poland has within living memory this idea of Marxist ideology that the left thrives on, that they need in order to take over a country, that they use as a method to recruit people. And in Poland, they got over that shit just fucking yesterday. It was like 1989 or whatever that the wall fell, and like all of the fucking countries started splitting off and stuff, and like they had to fight off Russia and do a bunch of shit to fucking get rid of them, right? So
Right.
they got that taste in their mouth still. They're still anti-Marxist because they were born into a system that was fucking Marxist and had to fucking suffer the problems from that.
Right.
And so when this Marxist leftist ideology comes around of globalism and, you know, all the things, they're like, fuck the fuck no. We know where that leads. We've been there before and we're not playing that fucking game. So therefore, we are going to arm ourselves to the teeth like Texas. Therefore, we are going to shut down our border and shut this shit out before it even starts because we're not standing for that shit. That's why.
Guy that comments, if you do, she might even know how to cook.
Here's more footage. There's so much footage of what's going on in LA right now. It's crazy.
Get over here.
See, like this guy, this fat dude should be instantly arrested.
Yep.
This guy needs to be like this cop should have turned around and arrested this dude and slammed him onto his fat fucking head. And then if someone else touches him, that person needs to be arrested too. But like he turns around, he's like, oh no. Oh. Like, where'd that fat guy go, dude? Arrest that motherfucker. Anyway.
He ran out quick.
Yeah, he changed his tone instantly.
He should be arrested for not having a belt on.
Oh, there's a wild muffin top in the chat.
Oh, it's both up.
What's up, man?
Good to hear from you, man.
What's up, Mr. Muff?
Been busy. I've been messing with. I just got chicks today, so I was messing around with the chicks. So
You got like a bunch of girls? Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they lay eggs. It's awesome. It's like the best of both worlds.
And you can eat them.
Yeah, the best.
Nice.
Ooh, they weren't. You see, he just went right after him.
So do you have any thoughts on what's going on in LA right now?
I'm kind of taking a media blackout this weekend. I had known about the riots. I was kind of letting some stuff shake down. I think National Guard should have been called in before it did, but I don't know if you guys have talked about it yet. But the Marines thing's interesting.
What's that? I didn't catch that.
They're sending in some Marines, some 400 or 500 Marines to LA.
500 Marines are on standby at 29 Palms.
Pretty wild.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
So I was
It's
gonna
not
say,
against the law.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about
Jump,
earlier.
jump,
That's what Headstep was talking about.
Wait. Isn't that against the law though? To like, I mean, to have them posted ready to go, that's not against the law.
No.
Right. But if
Right.
they were actually to be deployed against the against even foreign people on American soil, isn't that against the law?
No, not if they're there to help the
Restore
police
order.
enforce law and order. Because I think there's a provision that allows for them to be used as supplementary for the police, for law and order.
I think
The
that's
problem
correct,
is-
but I don't think they'd allow them in unless they thought that there was a threat level capable of needing Marines there. So I'm going to put my 2 cents in it. There is some cartel / foreign gang activity there that they know about, but they don't want it to pop off.
No, I can see that because the problem is, too, remember, you got the heads of the LAPD and the sheriff. They're acting like, oh, we're not going to do anything or do any other type of particular stuff, but they might need those people for help because they're all putting in a show. Because you already saw fucking Maxine Waters and all them other people acting a fool right now.
Well, I was listening to the mayor of LA, and she was saying like, "Oh, I don't know why Donald Trump's calling in the National Guard. We have the ability as the LAPD to take care of this situation."
Is that the same mayor that was on a trip in Africa while LA
Yes.
was burning?
Yep.
And
Karen Bass is also an ex-congresswoman.
Surprisingly, I have never met that woman face to face. Met the other people, but not her.
You're lucky.
I thought they would
Anyway,
have got me
the
out a long
point of
time
what I
ago
was
if I
trying
said
to say
anything.
there is that the fucking mayor was saying, yes, we have the ability to call in to take care of the situation as the LAPD, I don't know why they're calling in the National Guard while at the same time not taking care of the situation with the LAPD. So therefore, they have to call in the National Guard. So even if what she's saying is true, which I don't think it is, that the LAPD has the ability to deal with this,
No.
that they shouldn't call the National Guard because they have the ability, but they're not doing anything about it. So of course they have to call the National Guard. And then the other point that she was making was that, oh, well, because ICE comes into the city or to an area and they don't notify local authorities of what their operations are going to be, that when they pull off their operations and it pisses people off, that the people that are pissed off, that's a situation that they then have to deal with as a result of what ICE did, right? But she's got that backwards. It's not because of what ICE did. It's because of the people that they let into this country, that they let into that city, because it's a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state, and now they're reaping the consequences of having all of those people in the country when the country's trying to enforce the law. So that's a result of their sanctuary policies, not ICE, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, Muffin Top went out and went back in.
Yeah, I had to
He's
switch.
fucking the chat. He's just going in and out and in and out.
Inception.
Anyway.
Go ahead and say it, Leo.
What?
What you said when you jumped into my chat earlier today.
The N-word?
Penis.
Whoa.
Yeah, there we go.
Penis.
Inward penis. Nice.
Yeah.
So this is the Egyptian illegal immigrant who entered during the Biden administration and did the thing in Boulder, Colorado. So
Why did he have his shirt off? No one wanted to see that.
And they're calling it a terror attack now. So they are in fact calling it a terror attack.
I mean, trying to
Fat
prove
Anthony
dominance.
Bourdain.
I don't know. Seeing him with his shirt off is terrifying. I can say.
Whoa, is that a wild foos? Foos, is that you?
Yeah.
The foos is loose?
It is.
It's foos.
What do you think about? What are your thoughts on the LA riots right now? Do you think this is an organized thing, or is it just spontaneous?
Well, I just found out about it maybe like 2 or 3 hours ago. I think that anytime a riot starts to try to impede federal workforce, that riot needs to be put down. Like impede, like physically impede.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Like even when we come back to that BLM stuff, that where that cattle shit, like the government tried to put it down and they couldn't. But I mean, like it absolutely needs to do it, because if they're illegals, like what the fuck?
At what point should the federal, like in an ideal situation, which I guess the question starts off with an unideal situation, which is at what point should the federal government step in to either help a state out or to enforce a law that a state won't? Like either the state is unable to enforce the law itself, in which case the federal government should step in, or the state is refusing to enforce the federal law or whatever, in which case they have to step in. So either way, they have to step in.
You said it correctly. Federal law, like if it's a state law, the government cannot step in and go, okay, we need to help you out with this, because
Okay, well,
it is not.
Then I guess I asked it incorrectly, because rioting is not a federal law. It's not a federal law against rioting. That's every state has their own anti-rioting laws. So it would be a state.
It's rioting against
own laws.
You're endangering federal employees. ICE.
Correct.
I think that's where the line is drawn.
So therefore, January 6th was, well, that crossed the line too. Then, which I'd kind of agree. Some of the people did cross the line on January 6th.
I fully agree. Some did, like
Yeah.
the guy that took took the freaking desk or whatever. That's federal property. Like the whole J6 thing. Like, should they have been prosecuted?
Not in the way that they were.
Not in the way they were. Correct.
So some of them should have been prosecuted for the crimes that they committed, but if you have a one-sided bias system that's ready to convict a ham sandwich as long as it was pro-Trump, like that's where you're kind of getting into the realm of authoritarian fucking government that is imposing its will upon the people rather than having justice being served. And justice needs to be one of those things that you're very, very careful with, because you start playing around with that and you end up losing the whole fucking country. Because if the country loses faith in the justice system, which I think we're basically on the verge of, I don't know if we've crossed that line quite yet, but we're basically at the time where I think the American people justifiably have lost faith in the justice system. And, once that happens, you don't have a country.
I think we're way past that.
I agree. I think we're way past it. Just haven't hit every normie person out there.
I think in certain states, things like this, the social geoengineering is how they've failed countries before. And I wonder why they want to do this to certain states they're doing it to. Kind of like doing the blue beam. If you didn't have a blue car or a blue roof, right, you got torched. What do they want to take that they don't want to destroy in California or any other state or any other country? They're doing this. Like Paris is a shithole now because they're allowing these people to do whatever, right? They would give them a little bit of cash. So whatever they're doing is worth more than what they're paying these people.
Well, I think ultimately, if you back up and zoom out and get the full view of what's going on, right? So you really have to to change lenses and look at things differently. We're looking at a globalist takeover of the planet. They're trying to get a one world government under one order that's controlled by a smaller and smaller and smaller group of people. And the only way that you do that is by destroying the sovereignty of countries that have it currently, which is basically all of the first world, because the third world countries, who cares about? You can pay those people off. You can get them to do what you want. Populations are easy to control. Intelligence levels are low. Technology levels are low. Infrastructure is low. So they always need handouts. So you can just control them, Those first world countries, though, those European countries and America and Canada and Australia and, all of these countries that have done well, those are the ones that you need to destroy their sovereignty in order to integrate them into a one world government. So it's like you have to destroy something before you can rebuild it, is the deal. And that's why I believe you see a program being run in the United States and all over the world in first world countries to immigrate mass levels of population that are antithetical to the values of those systems in order to destabilize them and ultimately overthrow their governments and then implement new ones. That's what I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. HBO Matt dropped in $2 and said, deport all illegals. Also, no masked secret police. I agree with that. Also, fucking internet surveillance and all the other shit that they do on people, wiretapping, warrantless wiretapping, and all of the things that the government gets away with doing against the American people, because we've just basically accepted at this point that we have no right to privacy and the government can just hear everything we have to say and know everywhere that we go, and through Google or whatever, they've got all of the information that they could ever want about us. And that's fine, I guess, because we've accepted it. But
well, you heard about the shit Democrats slipped into that big beautiful bill, right? There was like a 3 or 4 page bill that Democrats flipped into the Trump tax bill that basically allows for potential Chinese surveillance state in U.S. soil now.
Congress is broken. That's another level of our government that is no longer functioning as it was intended, especially. But even okay, so like here's a great example. The United States of America has a spending problem. And if we do not get that spending problem under control pretty much immediately, then the consequences will be that our dollar will go into hyperinflation sooner or later, but it's looking like sooner than later. And the society that we live in will implode because of that. So it's basically it's a cancer fucking diagnosis from a doctor, and he's saying, hey, you really need to get on this chemotherapy, otherwise this tumor or whatever is going to kill you. And you say, meh, but I like drinking beer. And so you, instead of buying chemotherapy, you just buy more beer.
There's nothing wrong with beer.
Well, I mean, I guess you might as well be comfortable while you're, whatever.
And on that note, I'm out. I'll see you later, guys. Thanks.
All right, man.
No, where you going? No, you ain't going nowhere.
HBO dropped in 5 and says, how long till rapists or cartel members wear fake ICE or DHS uniforms and masks and start grabbing people off the street in broad daylight? I think you just gave don't give them ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude. Anyway. There's this story. Michigan Muslim pleads guilty in plot to open fire and kill Jewish preschoolers at daycare center in synagogue. These are the people that we're letting into our country, dude.
That looks like Duke.
It's Duke. It is Duke. I didn't know Duke was a Muslim.
Is it the AK?
The gay K.
Is it the AK? Is that why it looks like Duke?
Yeah, it's the gay K. You can hear me. Yeah, so that's all the stories that I had. Oh, here we go. Insurrection, peaceful protest. Insurrection, peaceful protest.
Is being somewhat selective.
Well, fair enough.
You think?
It is being somewhat selective, but it's still illustrative of the point.
I think you made the comment earlier, but if you're flying another nation's flag here, you need to leave. That's super fucked.
It's funny how all of these people who walked between the red ropes and didn't touch anything and peacefully left without hurting anything all got charged with the maximum fucking penalties under the law with things that don't even necessarily apply to them. But I guess technically if you twist the law just right, you can charge them with that too. Guess what? We're going to charge them with that too. Give them fucking extra time and do all the things. And yeah, but these people on the bottom, I bet 95% of them will never ever see even get a knock from a police officer asking where they were or whatever,
Yep.
Anyway. What's going on there, Mr. Ginger?
Corey.
Not a whole lot, just staying busy.
Yeah, what you been up to?
Taking care of my wife and the house and all the dogs. So, my wife is bedbound right now.
She's what?
Bedbound right now.
Why? What happened?
She almost died on May 9th.
The fuck, dude?
Shit.
Yeah, I remember you was talking about that.
I missed that. What happened?
Yeah, I haven't heard nothing about that.
I'll tell you after that.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, man.
That's okay. She's getting better. It's just slow.
Good to hear.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'll say that she almost died and then had to have emergency surgery and almost lost her leg.
Jeez.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Appreciate it. I've just been staying busy. Got a lot to do.
Yeah.
I've actually lost about 20 to 25 pounds in the last month.
Nice.
That's not really good, honestly. Like, it's good to lose weight, but not like that fast. That's not good.
Take the W, Corey. Good job, man.
I lost like 10 pounds in a week once because I was just stressed, you know?
In February, I was at 270. Now I'm at 258.
Stress is a motherfucker, I'll tell you that.
I probably lost like a good 5 pounds or so, maybe even more on this camping trip, though. Just because when you bring we were camping for 5 nights on motorcycles, and when you motorcycle camp, it's kind of hard to like bring a bunch of shit with you. So camping already takes up like 99% of the packing that you have, and you know you can bring drinks and stuff, but man, that's a lot of weight and takes up space. So you know, like you kind of don't bring enough drinks. You just bring just enough, and then you just bring just enough food. And so you're sitting there hungry and thirsty.
I had watched the video earlier.
Same.
Oh yeah.
I thought the forest looked nice though.
Which one did you watch? I dropped a couple of them.
When you was going down the trail with the snow and the ice and the water and shit.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh my god, that was
I didn't
crazy.
see that. I was watching the other one. You and the one guy were following around the trail. It was not snowing though.
Well, it wasn't snowing, but there was like, yeah, whatever. You saw that. It's the same video. Dude, I didn't even catch the worst of it because after that last clip ended, like some dudes came and like we talked to them on their bikes and you know hung out for a second and got back on our bikes and started going. And I went up this road. Oh shit, I can't fucking show that. I'm just talking instead of looking at what's going on. So we go up the trail, and do you know what a 2-to-1 is? Like for every 1 foot like forward you go, you're going 2 feet up.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So it was a 2-to-1 slope that went up about 100 feet and 50 feet of lateral travel. It went up 100 feet high. And about halfway up, I fucking like hit a giant rock because there was a rut in the middle of it because it had snowed and rained all night. So that when they did the trail the night before, there wasn't a rut and you can go wherever you want on that trail. But when we were going on it, there was a giant fucking rut down the middle of it. So you either had to go on the right side or the left side. And halfway up, there was a giant fucking rock in my way. So I tried to switch over to the other side and my fucking tire ended up in the rut and I like crashed a little hard and it knocked the fucking camera off my helmet, which popped the SD card out, which fucking fucked all that footage. And then I couldn't put it back on to fucking record the rest of it. We were on that trail for a total of about 3 fucking hours. And I only caught about the first 30 minutes of it. It got gnarlier and gnarlier and gnarlier. And it was supposed to be 8 miles long, like the total trail that we were going to do, an intermediate trail. We got to a point where it was like, hey, this is the road. This is the next trail that we're supposed to be on. We're 1 mile to the road. We're almost done. And we took a left instead of a right. So instead of 1 mile, it was 10 more miles.
God damn.
Damn.
And dude, by the time we made it back to the camp, like everyone was waiting for us because we were already supposed to leave. Like I still had to pack my shit up. I was super exhausted. All my shit was soaked with sweat because of like I dropped the bike like 6 fucking times, like going up these hills and stuff. There was a fucking a 4 foot high rock that we had to get over at one point that I just fucking launched my bike off of and fucking did like a 7 my wheel was above my head while my front wheel was above my head while my back wheel was off of the ground. And I landed it somehow.
Jeez.
Dude, it was nuts. And I did that shit. Okay, like you're supposed to do these trails, these intermediate trails especially on dirt bikes. You know, like a 250 dirt bike, something that weighs about, you know, less than 300 pounds and is low enough to the ground where you can touch, and if you drop it, you pick it up, and you know, all the things. That KLR weighs 500 fucking pounds. It is a very, very, very tall bike that has a high center of gravity. It is not made to do intermediate fucking trails, but we did it anyway. And the fucking tires weren't, you know, like I should have changed the tires before the trip, but I was like, they've got some tread on them, they'll be fine. And they were okay. But man, on that trail, I could have used some fucking new tires. Like, it would have helped a lot. Like, it was really rough, dude. Like, I was getting worried at a point that and then like I was getting really tired towards the end because we'd been going for almost 3 hours and we ran out of water and like all of these things were happening. My bike started running funny because I fucking dropped it so many times. So I thought it was running low on fuel or something. So I put it on reserve, but I was so tired I didn't put it on reserve. I put it on fucking off. And then, like 3 minutes later, 5 minutes later, the fucking the gas runs out of the fucking carburetor and the thing turns off. And so then you're like, oh fuck, my bike won't start. So it took us like a while to figure that out. And oh my god, dude. It was just one thing after a fucking another.
Clusterfuck, it sounds like.
Sounds like me. You had yourself an adventure.
Right. That was an adventure for sure.
Yeah, well, there was one dude, like Dino said, that had an Africa Twin who did all of that stuff. But he did it the night before when there wasn't ice already, like snow and ice on the trail, when there wasn't ruts already on the trail. And that dude's been riding for 30 fucking years. So,
damn. He's
got some experience. But yeah, dude, it was pretty cool. Other than that, I had a really good time. And even that, I had mostly a good time. There was a point where I'm like, this is not fun. But yeah, I was huffing and puffing. Dude, it's a lot of hard work. Like, you don't realize how much of your body you're using to balance things and how much fucking energy you use, how many calories you burn doing that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I probably lost a good 5 or 10 pounds in the last week from motorcycling and not eating enough.
Yeah, just water weight, you'll gain it back pretty quick.
Yeah. I don't know. Ever since I got home, though, I've been super fucking hungry. Like, I got home yesterday, and I'm still fucking sore, and I'm way behind on sleep. And all I want to do is eat. Like, I've drank like, dude, it's so nice having technology again. Like, I was sitting in the room, I went and grabbed a cold beer out of the fridge, like, made a hamburger on the stove, and sat down in my chair and watched YouTube and the air conditioning, and I'm just like,
Thank God for modern amenities.
Yeah. Took a nice shower, But yeah, man. So yeah, I've been kind of out of the loop as to what's been going on in the world because we've been literally in the middle of the woods with sporadic, if not no internet. So, although one of the dudes that came with us brought fucking Starlink, which was kind of cool to have, like, internet to connect to in the middle of the woods, but it only worked just like a couple hours a night because he had to charge up a Ryobi battery to run it.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a Ryobi battery hooked up to this inverter thing. I don't know, it was weird.
That's always good to have just in case, someone gets hurt or something like that, to have something to the outside world.
Yeah, dude, when my bike wouldn't start, we were still like a couple miles from the fucking road, and you can't get fucking trucks back there. There's no way you could tow that thing out. Like, the only thing you could do is make it back to camp, find out what parts you need to fix the bike, bring them to the bike in the woods and fix it in the woods and drive it out. Like, I don't know how else you get your bike out. But it was fun, man. It was a good time. It was very challenging. And I definitely I upgraded my skills on a bike. Like, riding around on dirt roads, especially, dude. Like, when we first got there, I'm slipping and sliding and I don't know what I'm doing or how to do it. By the time we were leaving, I'm fucking leading the bike over and fucking power sliding around corners. That was fucking fun. I got pretty good at that. But yeah, that trail riding shit's fucking something else on a big bike, dude. The easy trails, though, on that bike were totally doable. I only there was one time that I dropped my bike once on the easy trails, and it wasn't even that bad, So easy trails totally doable. Hard trails, intermediate. Well, we didn't even do any hard trails, so I don't even know about that. But the intermediate trails were a bit much for the old KLR and my ability level. Anyway, I don't know. I'm still fairly new to the dirt, so. Anyway, what have you guys been up to? Haven't talked to everybody for a minute. Missed the chats last week, so I guess it's been 2 weeks since I've talked to everybody.
Yeah, I took my bike out on Fridays, did a little riding. That's about it.
Dude, you're gonna upgrade to a motorcycle sooner or later. I know you will.
He needs to.
Because you want the power, dude. You want that power.
Join the game.
Just keep an eye on Craigslist. Try to find something cheap that doesn't run, and then watch YouTube videos until it's fixed. You know, that's the way to do it.
I think I might upgrade to Sauron.
Those fixture uppers you can usually find for a few $100s.
Surons are cool, but a 252 stroke is cooler.
Leo needs to get a Harley.
Nah, he needs a dirt bike. Everyone needs a dirt bike. That's what I've discovered. And like the riding on the road compared to like it's so much more technical on the dirt, man. Like the dirt riders have so much more skill than the. I've been riding street for a decade almost, and like I suck compared to the dudes who know what they're doing. You know. Anyway.
I mean,
that's because the people on the dirt just not only just need more skill, but getting them more pickles and crap like that they need to get themselves out of.
Right. It's not a nice paved road that, you know, like, oh no, the turn was too tight or there was some grass clippings on the road or something. I had to lay her down. Like, fuck that shit, dude. I jumped over a fucking 4-foot rock and landed it, bitches.
Right.
Was it fun or was it terrifying?
Both. There were points where I thought like I was going to crash, or there was one time where like, you know, like almost fucking throttled it like off a cliff, kind of, you know.
That's it.
And there were several opportunities to do that. You know, I could have done that like 50 fucking times. I almost did it once, but I could have done it like 50 fucking times.
How high were y'all up in elevation?
About 9,000 feet. Not too high. Not crazy.
Yeah, but it is still hard to breathe while riding a bike that high up.
No, I was just out of shape, dude. Honestly.
No, I mean,
that one
general,
that we were doing, we went down like an elevation. We went down 1,000 feet, and then up 1,000 feet, and then down 1,000 feet, and then up 1,000 feet in like basically 13 miles.
Damn.
Yeah. It was pretty insane, dude. But I totally do it again. I wouldn't do those intermediate trail. I would do those again, but not by my fucking self. Like I need a couple dudes with me in case, you know, so you can help each other out.
Something lighter than that KLR.
That would be preferable. Like if I had like a 450 or something, or like even like a 250 dirt bike, that would have been, I wouldn't say easy, but it would have been a lot easier. And if I'd fucked up and dropped my bike, I wouldn't have needed any help to pick it up because it only weighs like 230 pounds or whatever, you know, versus 500 for the KLR. Plus, like dumping it too, because that KLR is so tall. You got to balance on it. If you lose your balance, you're falling over at times because, you know, if like you fall over towards the low side of the hill, you can't reach the bottom. Versus if you're on a shorter bike, you start falling down, you can still catch yourself. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, it was cool though, man. Like I learned so fucking much, man. I really leveled up a bunch of my skills quite a bit in a very short period of time. And I feel pretty good about that. So
it matters you had fun and you gained skills.
All Thumb says, will you think about getting another bike? Yeah, I mean I totally would. And just it can't be right now. I just don't have the finances for even looking at bikes right now. So yeah, plus my son fucking he was driving his car, I guess, and at some point the fucking radiator hose popped off the bottom and he didn't fucking know anything about it and was driving his car around. He's like, my car's acting funny. So he drove it around for like 5 fucking days without any radiator fluid in it at all.
Oh,
man. I know.
So we put, you know, I was looking at it yesterday when I got home and popped the hose back on and we went and got some fluid and filled it up and it still runs. And I don't think the head gasket got blown. It is making a little bit more noise than it was before, but you know, pretty much we're just going to run it till it blows up. So he just took a bunch of life off of it.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put pictures from my ride in the side chat. Just a couple of pictures I just took.
On the Instagram.
Yep.
How much did that bike cost you?
Almost around 800.
That's a cool little bike, man. Yeah. Is this just like a battery thing, or what is that?
Yeah, it's the battery.
That's cool.
Cool.
On the other
That's cool. It looks like it's fun as hell.
How fast does it go?
So you got to go to the other one. I just want to see it better. Get up to 27.
Kind of reminds me of the old military motorcycles from way back when.
Yeah.
Spray painted all.
Our speed is 28. Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool, dude. Very cool. $800 though. You could add a KLR for that price. Just saying.
Yeah, but you could probably go
baby steps
more places with that electric bike.
Yeah. And cops don't fuck with you.
Yeah, the cops don't fuck with you, and you don't have to have insurance, and you don't have to register it.
Yep.
You don't have to have a license. It is a pain in the ass for a motorcycle, but my God, it's so much fun. You're like 80% of the way there with that bike, though, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, dude.
Oh yeah, it's definitely fun,
my next step is to get a second battery. Put a second battery on it so it can go longer.
Yeah, then you throw it in your backpack or whatever.
No, it goes on like that middle part. So you see where that large area at? It's a whole kit for like $300. Comes with another controller and a battery and a rail, so you can put it on.
Sweet. How long does it give you, like on per charge? Like how many miles or hours or whatever?
They say if you go at like maybe 15 miles an hour, it's like maybe 1 mile every amp. And mine's like a 15 amp battery.
It's like 15-ish miles.
Yeah.
What if you're fucking giving it? Like, what?
Yeah.
If you go as fast as you can or whatever, because that's. I don't know how you guys ride when you ride, but I don't like going like half speed. You know.
Usually I go about 20. So
yeah. So there you go. How long till they change the laws on those? I wonder. Yeah, that's a good question.
When people keep doing dumb shit, they will.
Well, for the longest time, you can get a fucking 49cc scooter still and drive that around without insurance, just the same, but they make noise, so people don't like them on sidewalks and shit.
Yeah.
They get all mad at you.
You still have to obey traffic law on those, though.
Yeah, you still have to go on a bicycle, too, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's no different.
Of course, I broke a bunch of laws, but like if you're not doing stuff too crazy, you're not gonna get fucked with. But
oh, dude, like on that road that we were on, dude, that short video here. Let me pull that up. We can watch my own videos on my channel, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a fucking striker, but not for watching one of his old videos. I remember.
Come on, Matt.
Yeah, it was like end of last year, beginning this year.
Well, remember he was handling guns, so yeah, they were about that.
True.
So in this video, the speed limit on the road that we are on is 20. Yeah, that makes it swirly. There's 20. And we're just going faster and faster and faster.
So you feel like 20.
What's your buddy riding ahead of you?
There's 60. He was on a Ducati Multistrada 1200, which is a crazy fucking bike to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It had mutant tires, which are like 50-50 tires, which are even worse than my tires on a heavier bike. It's lower to the ground, but on a heavier bike with worse tires. And he got on the trails and instantly broke his fucking foot peg and had to turn around in like the first little bit.
Yeah,
I take it. I take it pretty much those type of trails. You're not supposed to use those kind of bikes, huh?
As long as you have your OHV sticker, they don't care.
Oh,
But you're responsible for your own health and safety and the return of your own vehicle, you know? So it's kind of like, if you want to take it on the trails, you can. But you're dealing with the consequences. And I found out, okay, like, let's say in the middle of the woods, I fuck up and I break my legs or something, right? And I need a helicopter to come in and get me, which is part of the reason why you buy the OHV pass. Is it helps pay for things like that. But if you actually need the flight, they'd still charge you. And fucking insurance, as far as I understand, tries to pay as little as possible. And so then you are left with the remainder of the bill. They charge you like $60,000 to flight for life you out of the fucking woods.
Yep. Airlift is fucking outrageously expensive.
So,
and again, thank you, Dino, for the gear. Right, it really helped.
Oh yeah, Dino's a fucking
Dino's a fucking badass dude.
He is. He's a fucking legend, dude. Dino's
really
an
cool.
awesome motherfucker. He's a good friend.
Calhoun says, "What is an OHV pass? It's an off-highway vehicle pass. So there are certain trails in certain states that require that you have an off-highway vehicle pass in order to legally ride on them. But if you have that pass, which in Colorado costs $25, it's $25.25, and lasts for a year. Yeah, dude, and then you can ride on. There's so many trails and things around that I can explore now. I gotta just Google search OHV, and like on a map in your area, there'll be like, you know, this state park in that area that have fucking trails and stuff that you can ride, and you can do usually quads or side by sides or motorcycles or whatever your fucking fancy is, you know, if you want to get out there and do it. I highly, dude, getting some woods time, getting away from the city and spending some time in nature is good for the soul. And if you haven't done it, or if you haven't done it for a while, you need to do it. And it's
very
not
peaceful.
Yeah,
it's not like the meme of like, oh, go touch grass, but it's like, go experience nature. Go live like our ancestors did for thousands of generations, huddled around a fire in the cold, sharing a meal together. It's a different experience than sitting in front of your glowing screen and talking to your friends, you know?
Yep. Talking about care flight a while ago is what we call it around here, but you know, helicopter rides and stuff. Back in 2008, my sister suffered 3rd and 4th degree burns on 40% of her lower body. She had to be flown to Dallas to the burn unit there. Between that helicopter ride and her hospital stay, which she was in a medical-induced coma for 4.5 months, and she was in the hospital, I think, another month or two after that. She had close to $2 million in medical bills. My jaw dropped when I found that out. I was like, God almighty, that's ridiculous.
Dude, right here, you can see where the dude went off the road. Like, he was taking this corner too fast, and he was turning as hard as he could, but he couldn't make the turn. He went off the road right here, and you can see his tracks right here that go into the fucking woods. And then he finally stops right here, and there's a log right in front of him.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like, and there were like 2 little girls on like these little 50cc dirt bikes, like on the trail that he almost hit. It was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, fuck, man.
He got lucky.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, like, that's quite a bit of skill too, to hold the fucking bike up through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's some fucking luck also.
Damn.
Didn't Colorado get a new outdoor shooting range there? I don't know. There's a shooting range on Rampart, though, that we visited at a point. I don't know. The thing that pissed me off, like, I recorded so much of this trip, and right as we were leaving, right as I was leaving the house, I was adjusting things on my backpack, and I accidentally touched the screen on the camera on a spot that made it zoom in like 30% or something, you know, which ruins the shot. Like if you're zoomed in while you're doing an action ride, like it's like bouncy and you can't really see what's going on, and I'm looking at the wrong angle, you know what I mean? It's not the wide view. Yeah, it fucked up most of my footage, and I'm pretty upset about it.
Yeah, because you go through all the trouble having to go, you get all the equipment and take with you and do all that. That pissed me off.
At least it was at a nice angle though, and it wasn't off to the side or something.
Well, this video is the one video that I have that, like the night before, I took the helmet off the camera and shot another video. And when I did that, I reset the settings, and I didn't even notice that I had done that, you know? So this particular video is how the camera is supposed to be set up. Like the video that you watched, right?
Oh, okay.
The videos that I haven't posted, I've got like 18 hours of footage that's all fucked.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. I've already fucking mourned my loss, as it were. Calhoun says, and the chat, they just closed all the trails in a park in my county, all bicycle trails. I'm hoping that they won't start riding on the roads. My passengers and side mirror is already a little iffy. Well, I don't know what to say about that. Anyway, we'll be going about an hour and a half, which is how long we normally go for the Gay Frog chat. We did a little bit of motorcycle chat at the end, which I fucking love. And I hope you guys didn't fucking get turned off too much by that, because I know a lot of people don't do the motorcycle stuff, and I'm okay with that too. You can do what makes you happy, and I encourage that as much as possible. But
I'm just riding motorcycles. They're so much fun.
Anybody have any last thoughts on what's going on, or anything that you want to talk about before we go?
Yeah, we should end with that cool ass link I put in the back chat about the gun tech.
I thought it was going to be the toilet thing.
Or the Australian reporter getting tagged with rubber bullets.
Keep a tourniquet on you at all times, because you never know when you're going to need one.
Yeah, I've got a tourniquet in my pack. It's good to have. All right, boys. Well, thanks for coming. Deuces, y'all. Shauna, P and Fridge. Truba to Shabanaba to Pressure. Batakath Care. Prect the Troops.
Penis.
E-Honda Respiratory Therapy Fund. Dude, I was breathing hard, I gotta admit. But it's a lot of hard work, and then you're like arm pumping and holding on for dear life and using all the muscles in your body, and then picking up a 500-pound bike, and then trying to catch up with the people and going down a steep ass hill, and the camera doesn't catch how steep it is, like it really doesn't.
I'm pretty sure the elevation was difficult too.
But thanks, Mr. MSB. I appreciate it.
$10.
Anyway, thanks, guys. Call me, motherfucker. Call me.
I want to talk to you, motherfucker. Call me. Call me. Call me.